views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody. Wow, it's so great to be connecting with all of you. And those of you that were listening to the last show, it's great that you're still tuning us in and turning us on for this one, because this is a hot one, folks. This be the show. I'm so thrilled to be doing this show. And many of you have said this is a topic you definitely want to hear more about. How can we turn heartache into healing? But before we do that, I just say hello to Mr. Benny. Hello, Mr. B.
Howdy, Pap.
How you doing?
I be good.
Getting ready for the big holiday weekend?
Oh, yeah, ramping up, and this weather's gorgeous, so it's going to be wonderful.
Gorgeous.
Just everyone stay safe out there. That's all we request.
That's exactly right.
Stay safe out there.
Little barbecuing?
We actually haven't put it all together yet, maybe.
Yeah, I
Most
love
likely.
That. I was just talking to Heather Lynn 2 minutes ago. We were just talking about that. I like not having have it put together just yet. I really kind of like the vibe
You don't have
of
kids,
that.
though. That's the thing.
No, I don't. No, that's right.
When you have kids, you got to have a little more structure.
You have to have a little bit more structure. Absolutely, a little bit more. But just a little, though. All right?
Yeah, just a smidge.
Just a tad.
A scotch.
Just a scotch. I love that word. Just a scotch. Wow, what a great show, everybody. Love Seeker Radio with Coach Heather Lynn. Finding love for your authentic self. Get ready for this topic today. How can we turn heartache into healing? How can we turn heartache into healing? Now, for those of you out there, you know that a couple of shows ago, I talked about the latest statistics, and let's call it heartache. Why do we now see the divorce rate starting to move in ways that it hasn't moved in about 6 years? Well, there are a lot of theories about that. But the point is, no matter how you look at it, breakups can be so very painful. We agonize about them for years and sometimes decades. Painful decades, grieving, mourning. But here we go. There's a powerful way to use them to your advantage. You know, this is a topic that, this is not in my wheelhouse to talk about. I can tell you that now. So we're going to learn how our most recent, or maybe not even so recent, breakup can be your ticket to better love. I am so thrilled to have Heather Lynn join us here today. For those of you that are wondering why this topic, why do this today? Well, it's because Heather Lynn Temple, my very special co-host joining me here today, is a love coach. She is a creative love coach. She specializes in helping people find their authentic selves. And why is that important? You're going to hear about it today. Because if you want to attract your ideal match, if you want to look at what's going on in dating that is and isn't working for you, then what can we learn from today's show? But beyond all of that, what is it about the majority of her 30s? What is it about getting stuck in places? What is it about all of that led her to be one of the most sought after people to talk about this topic today and help people all over the world? And, how do we dig into the root of what's keeping us stuck in our relationship patterns? And so this is really a show where we get to take a look at one of those things. We get to take a look at what it is in the breakup that bums us out, so much pain, so much agony, so much suffering, that the only thing that we get to attract is more of the same. Heather, thank you for joining me here today. It's great to have you. Boy, this is a tough one, isn't it? This topic.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Pat. I'm so happy to be here today. It is
Just
a tough.
saying the word
Yeah.
heartache makes me a little, I'm cringing. Talk to us.
Yeah, the breakup is such a tricky thing because it is such a time of heartache and it's a time of questioning and, what did I do wrong? Could I have done something different? And so many of us seem to drown in those emotions, and it can bring up a lot of self-blame, and some of us just stay stuck for decades, like you said earlier. We thought the person that we were with was the quote unquote the one, and gosh, it didn't work out. And so there's this huge mourning period. It is like a death, learning how to live without that person who's, our life was centered around for so long.
Yeah. And they've moved on too. And so let's compound the scenario for a minute, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you're going to move to another planet, most people don't go through a breakup and then decide I'm going to move across the country or so not only do we go through a breakup, but then we're part of, now this separate journey. And there are many levels to this, aren't there, Heather? I mean, it's one thing to be in the middle of a breakup and then you go your separate ways and say, la vie, you don't have to bump into each other. But that's really not the case most of the time, is it?
No, it's funny. I just had a client go through this where she was living very close, very, very close to her recent ex, and she kept running into him, and she would go out every time she went out. She was terrified that she would see him because she knew that if she saw him, it would bring up all of these old emotions and it would just feel really awkward. So it is hard because, with the death, it's different because that person is no longer there. And we know that we can't change that fact. But with a breakup, there is always that chance that this person could still show up in our lives. And then what do we do when that comes, to fruition? Yeah. We see that person. How do we act?
Yeah. Well, what we're talking about really, though, is heartache all over again for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I mean, triggers, post-traumatic stress, whatever that wants to be. It's like a continual agony, right? Mm-hmm. For a lot of folks. And we carry that around with us. What is the impact of carrying that energy with us?
Yeah, I think I have a theory about several ways that people deal with breakups. Mm-hmm. There are a few go-to ways that people deal with them. And one of the ways is what you're talking about right now, and that is that we like to pick at that wound. We like to rehash the scenario so many times and really bring out that emotion. And I do believe that emotions are the key to, actually the biggest key to healing, is to honor our emotions and listen to them and find out what they have to tell us. But there's a difference between using that emotion as a learning tool versus picking at that scab of the breakup in order to sort of indulge in the emotion. And when we tend to indulge in the emotion, then it really can be a place where we get kind of stuck in the muck and the mire of that, where it's really hard for us to move forward.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about this because it is a constant wound that never really closes and heals for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it is that constant wound. Do we create that for ourselves? Do we want to be reminded? Is there just this lingering hope that we'll be able to get back together to make this all well? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Especially mm-hmm. if we're not the one that left. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm not the one. I did not leave. Heather mm-hmm. Lynn, help me. I did not leave.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do hold on to that hope that things mm-hmm. will work out. And of course, there are those stories where things do work out in the end. But I think it also begs the question, why would we want to be with someone who didn't want to be with us in the first place?
And why do we?
Right. And so that's pointing to the other part of my work, really, is working with the unconscious mind. What is it about being with someone who doesn't really value us or love us for exactly who we are? Why is being with someone like that safer for us than actually going out there and getting what we really deserve and what we really want? And that's where a breakup can be a great impetus for us to say, wow, I wasn't getting what I needed, and this person didn't love me or honor me for who I am. And here's a beautiful opportunity for me to actually get the chance to find that with someone else.
Wow. You work with people from all walks of life, really, getting to the place of discovery about who we really are. And so part of the conversation, which you and I will talk about today, is feeling deserving and looking at what just happened here. We hear this expression in our pop culture, what just happened here, right? And it's like all of a sudden we feel like we're blindsided. We feel like, oh no, I didn't even see that coming. I want to talk with you when we come back from break. Is that really true? Is it true that we didn't see it coming, or is it one of those things where we chose not to see it? Is this how this all works? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with the show. It's really great for all of you to be tuning us in, turning us on. Love Seeker Radio with Coach Heather Lynn joining me here today. How can we turn heartache into healing? For those of you out there that want to get some help on this, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. Make sure to add positive emotions to your counterbalancing thoughts. I know that feeling positive and compassionate toward yourself can be a huge challenge, especially when you're struggling with anxiety. Therefore, it's helpful to imagine that the main source of your negative self-talk is a younger part of your mind, which is just playing old tapes and repeating outdated protective programs. You will notice how much easier it is to speak in a calm, reassuring, and comforting way when you visualize addressing an inner child. By counterbalancing your negative thoughts with kindness and compassion, you automatically shift your consciousness and attitude from "I am powerless" to "I'm taking charge."
Are you feeling broken from your relationships? Are you second-guessing yourself about friends, family, and lovers? Tune into the hit show that's creating a buzz in the love-seeking community. Love Seeker Radio, finding love for your authentic self with renowned love coach Heather Lynn. Tired of dissatisfying relationships? Kiss them goodbye and power up your love seeker energy. Coach Heather Lynn reminds you that you can just be you, the beautiful and perfect you. Visit heatherlynncoaching.com to learn more. Pure Encapsulations is committed to producing the most complete line of research-based nutritional supplements, from fish oil to probiotics to multivitamins and more. Available through qualified health professionals and community pharmacists, finished products are pure and hypoallergenic to optimize the long-term health of all patients, even the most sensitive. With Pure Encapsulations, you can rest assured that you're getting the purest and highest quality nutritional supplements available. Ask a qualified healthcare practitioner about Pure Encapsulations today and discover why it's the supplement brand of choice for healthcare professionals worldwide. For more information, please visit www.pureencapsulations.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatShow.com for listening times in your area.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show. Insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Yeah, it's gonna be a heartache tonight. Yeah, guess what? That's why we're doing this show with Heather Lynn. That's why, because this is really what she does. She helps all of us get beyond the beyond. You know, the pain and the heartache of breakups. And, you know, we're kind of sitting in a world here. For those of you out there, yes, we are taking your calls. 1-800-930-2819. You know, I'm telling you, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, man, my heart still, I got an owie in it. And it doesn't matter like what, 30 years ago relationship, it doesn't really matter. An owie is an owie. And how do you like that term? Heather, you like that? Owie? I mean, it's true, right? If I got an owie in my heart, yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's hear from you. We'll get you some help. 1-800-930-2819. And we actually, the phones are ringing. Stephanie, we get right to you in a minute. I want to talk about this for a minute. Is there any truth to what I just said, Heather, about, okay, it doesn't matter if you had the owie 30 years ago or 30 minutes ago, it's still an owie. Is there a difference between a 30-year-old owie and a 30-minute owie?
I don't think so. You know, I think what we find is that the patterns in them are often the same. I have a very good friend of mine who went through a recent, really very painful breakup, very recent, and she was devastated. And she really thought that she was going to be with this man forever and that they were going to get married, and it didn't work out. And when we actually sat down to talk, what we realized, and I see this a lot with my clients also, is that, you know, the man was different, but the pattern was the same. And so if we had a breakup 30 years ago that we're still holding on to, and even if we've dated other people since, a lot of times the core patterns are the same. And the way that we behaved in the relationship, or the way that we responded to the person, or the type of person that we have been attracted to, those are the same. So the owie can be fresh, you know, maybe it's a fresh owie, but if it's on top of a scar that's already there, then it's just as painful and powerful as the old one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Painful, powerful. I love it. We're going to go to the phones because obviously what we're talking about today has really gotten the attention of one of our amazing listeners. Mr. Benny, who do we have?
Stephanie from Everett. Welcome to the show.
Stephanie, how can we help you? Welcome.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, Heather. Hello, Dr. Pat. Thank you for taking my call. You know, I know you're talking about breakups with boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife thing, but what about like when a dad leaves a child and then she grows up to be the adult female and trying to go through relationships? I think, how would I help my daughter with that?
That's a
great question.
Yeah. You know, the feelings are the same there. It's that feeling of abandonment, right? And that feeling of vulnerability, and some sort of rejection that's there. And I do think that you're right. You know, our first relationships are with our parents, and a lot of the unconscious patterns that we develop happen before we're 9 years old. So in a situation like this, where you're trying to support her, you know, I think it's a lot about helping her to understand her emotions that are being triggered by the abandonment there. So if she's reacting to other people in her life in the same way that maybe she would have reacted to her dad, then kind of pointing that out to her. Does that make sense? Where you're helping her to understand that the emotions that she's feeling could be a result of the fact that her dad is quote unquote broken up with her, you know. And I think too, helping her to see how this maybe would affect her belief about love and her love. I call them her love philosophies, you know, the things, her core beliefs about love itself. And
Stephanie, does that make sense to you?
Impacted her. Yes, it does. And I see how that has impacted her. Now she's 24 now, and she doesn't have that core belief. I mean, no matter how much I loved her and supported her through from 9 years old to now, it just seems like that doesn't matter. It's still that core relationship that was damaged and broken.
Yeah, and so if we have, you know, I know for myself, I have a core love belief that I have to prove myself in order to be lovable. And it's something that it doesn't go away once you see it. And so you can help your daughter maybe to see these beliefs that she has about love. And they don't go away, but when we become aware of them, or when we become conscious of them, then we can start to see how our interactions with people are being swayed by that core love belief. So in that moment of consciousness where we say, oh, I'm doing this because of this core love belief, then we can actually have more power to change our patterns in relationship. So, you know, I'm not sure hopefully she's open to hearing that from you as well.
Yeah, that's the issue. She's not really open to hearing stuff from me. But I know you record these, Dr. Pat, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do. This will be up and ready tomorrow.
Yeah, I will play this back for her, because when she can hear it from somebody else, that I'm saying the same thing to her, but she doesn't want to hear it from me. But when she hears it from you, then maybe she can really look at this when I say, okay, this is happening. This is what we were talking about.
And, you know, she can also call Heather Lynn and set up a coaching session.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, that's why we're bringing Heather on, because, you know, part of this is helping people, you know, get to a place where we can shift these patterns. I mean, you know, none of us, I don't think, walk around saying, oh, my goodness, I would love to be miserable today. Let me see how I can do that. Right? Well, you know, we don't. But we end up in the pattern of misery because A, we probably, right, Heather, we don't think we can change it, and B, we don't know how.
We
don't know how. You know, and that's really what the beauty is in the work that Heather does, is you don't have to know how. You know, none of us really know and see ourselves well. I don't know if you've got, you know, Stephanie, I don't know if you got like a best friend, but my best friend, Linda, she sees me like no other person.
That's right.
No other person. And in no uncertain terms, she will say to me, da-da-da-da-da, Pat. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I don't like to hear it. And, you know, isn't this true, Heather? You know, sometimes our kids, we are the last people they want to hear from, right?
Well, yeah, because we, you know, our parents, they tend to be the ones who trigger us the most. And if you're not in the business of, or in the understanding that triggers, and by triggers, I mean emotional charge. If we don't understand that those triggers are actually our gold, that those are places where we're going to learn something about ourselves. If we don't realize that, then our parents are going to be the people that we don't want to hear things from, because they're the ones who tend to trigger us the most.
Right.
Even though, of course, the intention is always to be helpful and positive and supportive. But sometimes as a child, it's hard to see that.
Yeah, sometimes. Like, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, it was most of the time. Stephanie, does this work for you? Are you good to go here?
It absolutely does. Thank you both so much. I really enjoy listening to your shows.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, let's do this, Heather, before we go to break. I think it's great if you could just tell folks how they can find out more about you, and how do they go about working with you?
Wonderful. So I'm actually offering a program starting next Monday, July 6th. It's a 1-month online coaching program called Heartache to Healing, or Beauty in the Breakup, sorry, gosh, which is turning heartache into healing. And it's 4 weeks. It'll be 4 live calls with recordings, and we'll work through these steps of how to take this really painful heartache and turn it into a beautiful healing process that will help my members really move to get the love that they want. And so you can find that on heatherlynncoaching.com. It's called Beauty in the Breakup. And then I also offer 30-minute free consultations, and I work with people one-on-one as well.
Yeah. And so, Stephanie, a lot of opportunity, for your daughter to get some help here, because it is, like I said, none of us really want to go through this. When we come back, we're going to talk with Heather Lynn about a couple of really, really important things. And, what are some of the core beliefs we have going on? We just touched upon this a little bit, but what are some of the core beliefs? How do we go about discovering them? And then what is a love mask? A love mask. I can't wait to hear what that is. I don't know what Heather's going to say, but I'm ready to find out. Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
You may call it in this evening, but you've only lost the night. Preset all your pretty feelings, may they comfort you tonight. And I'm climbing over.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit artiehoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times, and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
I'm Peggy Snow with another Stellar Reflections Minute. Presence, or what we think of as being fully in the moment, is a key element in the process of healing work. As a practitioner facilitating a session, genuine presence takes us out of our heads, where we tend to decide what is and maybe what should be for the client, and moves us into direct experience where we're available to witness the person in their wholeness. In this receptive realm, our senses are heightened and expanded, allowing us to perceive what's seeking to unfold and to interact in the moment. There's something profoundly powerful that happens when healing is approached in this simple, pure way. Balance can be restored and healing can take place on multiple levels. If you'd like more information about the services we offer at Stellar Reflections, visit us at stellarreflections.com or call 425-999-9836. That's 425-999-9836.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Baccili and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Wondering how to play the game of life and actually win? Stop wondering and start winning the game of life with the unique, incomparable Lynn Brown. Lynn takes everyday aspects of life and infuses them with the magic of soul and passion to help others. She wants to help you next. Lynn offers a myriad of spiritual healing, from chakra clearing, aura healing, to even corporate and business readings. Bring your game face and visit letter R, letter U, intuit.com or call 844-letter-B, Intuit.
I don't even know if I believe. I don't even know if I believe. I don't even know if I believe everything you're trying to say to me.
Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Stephanie, thank you so much for your question, because it really does open the door for having a conversation, that taps into what Heather Lynn has been talking about. And, it's kind of about the beliefs, that we have, and where do they take us? What direction do they put us in? And, let's talk about this. Why do these core love beliefs, Heather Lynn, why do they matter or not? And then how do we even figure out what they are? Because I think what Stephanie was talking about is perfect. I really can't see myself as well as other people see me. But tell us about these core beliefs.
Yeah, Stephanie's question was great, because it's not just about our love partners where we can see these things. It's also in our friendships and our family relationships as well. But the core love beliefs are part of our unconscious mind. And oftentimes these are what keep us stuck and prevent us from getting what we really want. And, the unconscious is, our mind is beautiful, and its intent is always to protect us and to keep us safe. And these are actually the sign of a healthy mind. So it's not that anything's wrong with the way we're living in the world or navigating the world. But what happens is when we're younger, we develop these beliefs about love, and they kind of get stuck in our unconscious. And they matter because if we believe these things to be true, then it will determine the types of people that we connect with or how we act in relationship. For example, as I said earlier, I have and still have a core love belief that I have to work or have to prove myself in order to be lovable. And so how that shows up in my relationships is that I will overwork, I will overgive, and I will overprove in order to get this person to love me. And so oftentimes then I would attract or be attracted to men who would force me to do that, right? It's on that unconscious level that we're attracted to each other. Right. Where if my unconscious core love belief is that I have to prove myself in order to be lovable, then I will be attracted to men who will have me prove that right. So, a lot of people share similar core love beliefs.
Right. And then we get to say, see, I told you.
Exactly.
See, I told you.
Mm-hmm. And our mind says, oh, it's hot. It's dangerous. Don't touch that. Love is dangerous. So see, let's just stay single, or let's just, dip out of this relationship because it's proving us right. And, it's these core love beliefs aren't always negative. Sometimes we have ones that are somewhat overly positive. For example, that love is going to save us. Yeah. And if then we're in relationship and we still experience loneliness or heartache or sadness, and we're in relationship and we have the core love belief that love saves us, we'll think, oh, this just must not be the right person. Right.
Right.
When those emotions are human emotions, and being in relationship doesn't save us or protect us from them. But if we think that it's love only that's going to prevent us from feeling those, and they still come up because we woke up human this morning, then we'll be more likely to blame the partner versus actually seeing those as just part of the human experience.
Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this because, sometimes we have beliefs about ourselves, and then we have beliefs about other people. And one of the questions I asked before is about this love mask. You know, what is a love mask? I mean, you know, I have an idea. My mind just went in a million directions to think about. But, you know, from your point of view, what is it, and how have you seen it show up in people?
Of course. So the love mask is the part of ourselves that we show to people. So it's our protection. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. Actually, most of the time we don't. And we're really working from a persona level rather than from our true self. So we will put on a certain personality to when we're dating or when we're in relationship, even further down the line, that's really protective. So sometimes people will show up with the love mask of the nice girl or the nice guy or the diva, or the clown or the party girl. And so we'll show up because that for us feels very safe to be guarded by that love mask. But what it's really doing is it's keeping us from presenting our true self. And so oftentimes when we are in relationship, we attracted that person from the level of our love mask rather than the level of our true authentic self. And so that's where the disconnect can happen and lead to those breakups, because we have been attracted to each other just on that surface level versus showing up as our authentic self. And again, most of the time we don't even realize that we're doing this, but we can see, all we have to do is sit down and think, gosh, how have I presented myself in my past relationships? And that can help us see what love mask we tend to wear.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about this because, you know, when I think about a mask, I think about the ability to put one on, take it off, then find a different one, put one on, take it off, then find a different one and put one on, take it off. Do we use the mask as a defense mechanism, Heather, so that, you know, perhaps I don't want to show you who I really am all at one time. So let me just put this thing on and give you a sneak peek. Yeah, go ahead. I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, we feel like we have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
To be lovable, you know, and that's, and I think it's not just a modern concept. You know, you think these days with online dating and with media that we're learning how to behave and how to act, but this is really sort of an ancient way of living, that we feel that we have to guard who we are underneath, because there's some messages that we receive along the way that who we really are isn't good enough or isn't lovable or acceptable. And so we put these masks on as protection, and we can change them. You know, maybe we've used one for a long time and we decide, oh, that one's not working anymore. I'm going to try this instead. Or, oh, I see that person over there and she always does the diva routine and she gets a lot of men who love her. So maybe I should practice wearing the diva mask, when it's really not who we actually are. So, and it's not to say that we don't have these parts of ourselves in us, but when we wear the mask, it's very extreme. You know, it's really hiding everything that's inside of us.
Well, that would make sense to me, because if we are putting a mask on, which is something that we're not, right? I would imagine it would be extremely difficult to get that to feel natural. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say is, like, if I'm going to put on a mask, it's like going to the masquerade, right? You ever been to one of these masquerades or Halloween or whatever that is? You know, when do we ever pick a mask that is like us, right? You know, we pick something that is an illuminated, not even illuminated, let's just call it, you know, us on steroids 24 times of what we want to be. We don't wear that well, do we?
Right. And I think too, the other thing that I think about too is the more we wear the mask, the more we feel like we have to rely on it, especially if the mask is working. So then if we're dating someone or if we're in a relationship for a long time and we feel the urge to take the mask off and really start to reveal our true self, that if the mask has been working, it'll be really hard to take that off. So then the guard becomes even stronger. And sometimes it's when we actually decide to take the mask off, that those relationships can end. And that brings us back to the breakup idea. So what we can use our breakups for is to see, well, how have I been presenting myself in relationships? And is that really my true self? And what would happen if I took the mask off and just presented myself as who I really am? What am I afraid of there? And that's a great question to ask. Why am I afraid to just show up as my real self?
Well, and let's talk about that and much more when we come back. Before we go to break, I would love for you to tell folks a bit about, what it is that you're going to be launching here, because this is really a great way for people to really get in touch with what is going on in my life. How do I move beyond the heartbreak, the ache? And, for the folks that, are listening to the show today, one of the things I think it's important to know is we don't have to know the answers. We can discover it. Tell folks again about the upcoming opportunity you've put together for everybody, and a website and anything else you'd like to share, if you don't mind.
Wonderful. Yeah. So my Beauty in the Breakup program starts this Monday, July 6th. And it's a 4-week program online. And we'll walk through some of the ideas we've talked about today, core love beliefs. How can we discover these? Why do they matter? We'll talk about the dating mask and how we can actually remove that. And then something that we haven't talked about yet today is that the dating mask is actually hiding something that's even more powerful. And that's what I call the love shadow. And that's part of our unconscious mind. So we'll even tap into that in the program. And it's 4 weeks, and you can sign up for that on my website, www.heatherlynncoaching.com. And there's a tab at the top that says Beauty in the Breakup, and there's a link there to sign up.
Awesome. Let's take a short break, everyone. When we come back, the heartache. We're going to talk about the healing process. What could it look like? Why is it so important to heal? And how is it even possible for us to move beyond the pain that we thought would never end? That's why we've got Heather Lynn joining us here today. Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Tune in to Prescience Life Radio with host Mia Simone. Mia is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Join Mia and discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. To learn more about Mia, visit presciencelife.com.
Get ready to embrace your feminine nature and get wild. Join Lynn Brown and Wendy R. Wolf for the Wild Transformation Retreat this July 26th through August 1st. Get ready for a mental, physical, and spiritual challenge. A call back to nature and its unlimited gifts. To learn more and register for the early bird price by July 1st, visit RUintoit.com. That's letter R, letter U, intuit.com.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Wondering how to play the game of life and actually win? Stop wondering and start willing the game of life with the unique and incomparable Lynn Brown. As an intuitive healer and experienced business manager, Lynn can help you live your life to its full potential. To learn more about Lynn, visit RUintuit.com. That's the letter R, letter U, intuit.com.
Tune Tune in each Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio to Limelight Radio with Katina Makris. This is an inspirational, cutting-edge radio show educating worldwide listeners on a diversity of Lyme disease-related topics. Each week, Katina will interview some of the world's leaders in health, wellness, spirituality, and human potential. For more information, visit limelightradio.com.
Tune in to Prescience Life Radio with host Mia Simone. Mia is devoted to sharing her extensive knowledge on the invisible worlds of energy. Join Mia and discover the science of intuition and connect with your greatest gift. Start living in your potential today and every day by opening up to the power of inner knowledge. To learn more about Mia, visit presciencelife.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Ain't no love, and it's shown up for pity. Ain't no love, 'cause you ain't around.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. It's so great. You're great to have Heather Lynn joining us here today. Heartache to healing. This is really where we get to talk about healing. Heather's a lot of times, especially if we're in the middle of it, healing is not something we can see for ourselves. There's something about heartbreak that is so absolutely powerful that it brings up so many emotions when we go through a heartbreak. And healing is hard for us to realize. I think that's why you work with people. I'd love for you to talk about healing, what it can look like for some and why it's so important to really look and go after that healing part of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great. Some people don't take the opportunity to really use a breakup as a way to heal. Some people will distract themselves from actually going through the process. They might overshop or just jump right back into a relationship. But if we really stop and, as I said earlier, use the emotions that come up as a way to learn something about ourselves, let the emotions run their course and be teachers for us. I think that's a really beautiful step in the healing process. And just to get quiet with those emotions and listen to what they have to say. Our mind is wiser than we give it credit for, but sometimes we're running so fast that we don't actually stop to listen. And the other thing too is that some of these things that we've talked about today, learning about your core love beliefs, learning about the masks that you wear and what's going on in your unconscious mind that's really keeping you stuck. Just the awareness that we can gain from a breakup of these parts of our default patterns. Gosh, it's so powerful and a beautiful way to move us towards that healing that everybody's looking for. And in fact, that the consciousness, the awareness of those things can help us in our next relationship to have a healthier relationship and to actually pick a better partner for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is really interesting. I love that you said pick a better partner for ourselves. Sometimes, we think we stumble upon things, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, wait a minute, I can't believe how I attracted this person. What is it about walking around either from a wounded point of view or from a healed point of view? What does either one of those get us? What do we attract with each of those?
Mm-hmm. Well, to a certain degree, we're all wounded, and that's just the human condition. But each person's particular wounds, what our mind is doing is looking for people who are going to prove our wounds right, or who are going to help us avoid seeing our wounds. And so if we're moving from that space, we're actually perceiving the people who are going to prove us right. So it's kind of that law of perception, where we will be attracted to that type of person. But if we learn to take our power back and go through these processes that are available to us to really understand ourselves and really get whole and get into the most whole space that we can, then there's such freedom in choosing a partner, because we can choose that partner from a place where we're not giving our power away to that person, but instead looking at that person with a really open mind and with a lot of understanding. And we're not so reliant on that person to be a certain way to make us feel better.
Right. And, this is really part of the journey, isn't it? I know you work with people all over the world. And, I want to ask you about the folks that are listening to the show now that have gone through. And, one of the things when we're talking about breakups, Heather Lynn, one of the things that I want to really just point out is they come in the form of many, 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 many disguises. One of them is, a job loss is a breakup of sorts. And there are so many things we go through in that process. What are some of the emotions that folks need to heal? You and I were talking about betrayal. Betrayal seems to be not only something that comes up when we talk about heartbreak, but it comes up whether or not the reality exists. Did he or she cheat on me? Whether or not that's true, the level of betrayal just comes to the forefront. What have you discovered?
I think at the core of a lot of these emotions really is fear. That even at the core of betrayal, it's really comes down to fear. And if we're living in a space where we fear that someone else can change who we are or take something from us, then we're going to be really guarded in all situations. And you're right. This isn't just about losing relationship. This can be, even with friendships or with work and those sorts of things. So if we're looking at the world and projecting fear onto every situation, you can see how that would change the way that we act in our romantic relationships. In our workspace, we might not go for the job that we really want, or we might not speak up for ourselves if we're afraid of that rejection or afraid of the betrayal.
Right.
And I think that to offer a different way is that if we really can get to that space of wholeness within ourselves, then what we find underneath that fear is really love. The desire for love. And that's really what we're all craving is to be seen and to be loved.
Yeah, we are. What a great show. Thank you so much for today. I would love for you to, again, let folks know how they can find out more about you. And I also would love for you to share what people will discover in this special training that you've put together.
Great. So my website is heatherlynncoaching.com. And I do offer a free 30-minute consultation, and you can sign up. My calendar is right on my website. And that's for one-on-one coaching. But I'm also offering this group coaching, which is an opportunity to work with me at a lower price. And it's really focused on what we've talked about today, which is how to take a breakup or any loss. Like you were saying, it doesn't have to just be a breakup, but how to use a loss to your advantage, so that we can get you to that space where you're feeling a lot more balanced and a lot more aware of who you are and what your defaults are. And so it's a 4-week course with 4 live calls, and that includes recordings of the calls and a private Facebook group and Q&A sessions. And that also includes 1 private coaching session with me as well. And that's also on my website. It's called Beauty in the Breakup. Group coaching.
I love it, because you know what, sometimes when we get together in a group to talk about these things, the level of truth is so profoundly revealed, and then you feel you're also not alone. So thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. One last question. What's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with?
You can take your power back. And by that, I don't mean that you become this, kind of person with attitude, but that you can just have a really grounded experience of life. And we can use your breakup or any sort of heartache as a way to get you there.
I love it. Thank you, Heather Lynn, everybody. I want to thank all of you for tuning us in, turning us on. Thank you, Mr. Benny, again, for pushing all the right buttons. And thanks to all of you out there for your honesty, for your vulnerability, and for your eagerness to learn and grow. We'll see you next time on the show.